actually, I already uploaded some information to that thing about documents to go.
Okay.
And I already have some information there. So just actually, I think everything is okay. Just to corroborate with my questions, my questions are correct.
Okay. Okay. Okay, your running head, it can be regular text. You might want to check the format with that. So this is your introduction.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In your thesis statement, state your subject.
A subject?
Yeah, subject instead of there is, there are, or there
okay,
will be. In this case, something maybe related to dynamic classes or authentic video, whatever the main idea, the topic is, and then follow it up with reasons or examples or something related to the main idea of your thesis. In the predicate after the verb, all right, that is what you're going to include in your main heading. So whatever you talk about in your thesis statement, your main headings will relate directly to that one statement. So try to make it very clear that the headings that you have here are very much related and linked to what you have in your thesis statement. And it could even be repeating the same words, for example, or so.
Actually, I just, well, for example, the first one is just about general, like, information about authentic material, like the ideas that some authors have, but in general. And then in the next step or in the next subtopic, I have something more specific about my topic that is video.
Okay. Now, I want to draw your attention to a couple things here. Okay, I want you to revisit again this page, and because I've added some videos here at the bottom that really talk about writing argument claims, and again about claims and arguments, because a lot of what the feedback that I'm going to provide here relates to that. How can we organize our claims, our ideas, in a coherent way? Now, when we look at this first section, you need to ask yourself, what ideas do I want to discuss that link to this one section?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Each idea or claim is also a topic sentence. So when I say topic sentence, I mean a claim. Now, a claim is something that's either true or false, that's right or wrong, that, but it's a statement that leads to your, in this case, your main idea, this first topic. Now, what you have here, this paragraph begins here and ends here. And you currently have 377 words in this paragraph. Typically, on the average, we're going to have paragraphs between 130 to 160 words, more or less.
100?
Yeah. Because a paragraph is one idea. And in that one idea, you're going to provide evidence, and you're going to analyze, and then you're going to link that idea to something else. You're going to have a lot of small singular ideas, okay, to base an argument around, in this case,
my
this heading, which in turn links to your thesis statement. So here you have one idea in this heading.
Or how can I get the 2,000 and I don't know how many words if I just have 100 in each paragraph?
You need more paragraphs. I mean, we have...
For example, that one I can divide it into paragraphs?
Well, I'm just telling you, I haven't even looked at it yet, but I'm just saying, just by looking at one paragraph, 377 words, I know, well, it's too long. Now, I think, I'm trying to remember, I think, your classmates, based on the work so far, they're having around 13, 14, up to 17 paragraphs. And those are ideas. So that gives you kind of more or less an idea. Around 15 ideas, and you're going to put all these ideas in a logical order, but you're not going to have paragraphs that talk about one idea, so long, right? So that's just the first observation. Now the question is, well, do I divide up this paragraph? Well, then we need to look now more deeply about what are you talking about and making sure that you stay on topic. But that's my first observation. So here, I'm just going to put meal plan, but it's based on and I'm going to say making more claims that form an argument. So here I talk about claims. Here I talk about meal plan. I don't talk about it, but there's some YouTube videos that talk about the meal plan and how to develop a paragraph, how to develop an idea. And this is kind of what we're talking about here, developing ideas more concisely, but talking about more ideas. So that's first observation. Now, if we look at this one, all right, this sentence here looks like you start with a quotation mark.
Sí, de hecho, bueno, eso lo iba a corregir. Todavía no es como la última versión, pero sí, eso sí lo voy a notar.
Okay, is this going to be a citation?
Sí, pero antes voy a dar como una explicación porque no, sí sé que no podemos comenzar con una citation.
Okay.
También mi pregunta era, ¿cómo puedo o cómo se cita cuando estoy tomando de un documento de internet? No es un libro, sino un...
As a citation or the reference?
La cita y la reference.
Okay, the citation is the same as a book or an article. Author and year.
Okay.
If there's no author, include the first few words of the title.
Okay.
In
sí,
italics.
No tenía...
In italics. And the year, if there's no year, you abbreviate N.D. Period.
No date.
No date, yeah. So I would shorten your headings here, and there's no punctuation after a level 1 or level 2 heading. Level 3, yes, there is, but not. And I would shorten.
What happens at the beginning?
Monday?
¿Cuál fue la situación en el primerito?
Two things. One, you have a period, and second, it's too long. It looks like a sentence. I would just do like a phrase.
Okay. Más corto.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't more than one word, of course, but a shorter phrase, more concise.
Y ya, hasta ahorita tengo eso. Obviamente, pues también me falta.
How many words do you have?
Tengo alrededor de 1,100, me parece.
Okay. So the idea here is going back to this. These are claims of fact, claims of worth, claims of policy, claims of concept, claims of interpretation. They talk about writing claims in different examples here. But when I say claim, I'm referring to mainly the topic sentence. Okay, so that's the main thing that I want all of you to kind of understand is how can you present your claims and to form an argument. So it's not just, for example, you might decide to talk about your claims going from the general to the specific. Maybe it's a okay.
General to specific.
Well, it may change depending on the section, depending on what you're talking about. But
it's
not
one format for all the documents. For example, if
you can mix them. It depends on the it depends on the section, and it depends because when I talk about the patterns, general to the specific process, this also applies to the paragraph also. Mm-hmm. The paragraph, depending on what you're talking about, depending on the claim, the logical order could be based on time, could be process, could be least important to the most important, smallest to the biggest, whatever. I mean, there are many different patterns, but it shows some sort of logic. Maybe it's talking about the what first, then the how, then the why. Okay? And again, I'm talking about the level of paragraph or the level of the main section or the whole thesis. Okay. Right? But the main thing is that you are clear on we call this rhetorical pattern, like how are you organizing your ideas, and that it makes sense, and it just makes it easier to understand. That's why we want to try to, find that pattern, the appropriate pattern. But that each topic sentence needs to be a claim. And I talk about premises. Premises are claims that lead to some idea. So premises are taking these individual claims to be premises, something that you need to know before to be able to go to the next idea. So that just makes sense.
Something that takes you into
the easiest examples in a process. You start here and you end here, but actually, step one has to be.
I think I'm using that because I'm not like I try to introduce them into the idea and then to give the point and then to conclude with the.
Right. So, that's the idea, and typically your topic sentences will not be there as there are, and typically I try to avoid the verb to be typically for the topic sentences, but.
And talking about my questions, my research questions, are they okay?
Let's see. Okay, we want to also avoid non-referential it in the passive voice.
It? Okay.
It will be answered, it will be found, it will be seen, it has been shown. We want to change it to the active voice. So instead you can say, in this research, let's see, the following questions will be investigated. Dos puntos. Number one. Number two. Yeah.
Okay.
How does the use of other names, such as... So in your research, in your theory, are you only talking about TV series?
Yes.
In your theory?
Actually, in my theory, it was what I was saying, that I start with something like more not general, because I don't talk about all the type of
but you talk about video in general.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then I talk about I talk about authentic material itself, just like what the authors think about it. And then I go into video or that thing.
Okay.
And then I start developing on the
Then you go into
but the first
series.
thing, for that reason, I was saying that it is general, and then I go into my point.
Okay, but even when you go general, that doesn't mean one big paragraph. Mm-hmm. So even in general, you're still talking about ideas, right? So, one way to do it is to kind of create an outline. Just put, but not a typical outline. What I would do is put your headings, level 2 heading, and then create just topic sentences. Put in, say, the first section, I don't know, 6 ideas, 6 topics, 6 claims. And then figure out how you're going to develop each of those claims.
Okay.
Yeah? Because you only have 2 sections, right?
Up to here. I'm going to have 3.
Ah, okay, so you have 3.
3 that are the ones that answer my questions. The first...
right, but 3 main level 2 headings, right? You're going to have 3?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, you're going to have roughly 4 or 5 ideas.
Okay.
Or paragraphs, more or less. I mean, maybe you have, 4 in one and 6 in another, but more or less, that's the idea. And so try to think about, okay, I'm going to talk about this idea first, then this idea, and this idea. Now, how am I ordering these ideas? Is it general to the specific? Is the least important, most important? The theoretical to the practical? Process, time?
Okay.
Right? And if you can line those out first, then you can kind of say, okay, this is where I'm going. This paragraph's going to lead, because each paragraph needs a transition into the next, so it flows and it's logical.
Okay.
Yeah? So, I think, go ahead and, I think we can leave your research questions the way they are for now.
Teacher, after the due date, are we going to receive feedback or something more deeply?
I'm going to give you feedback this weekend, and then you'll have time to make those changes.
Yes, that was my question, because, well, for example, I suppose that the points or the percentage that the lit review is related to deliberate on time, I suppose. Because I suppose that we're going to have some mistakes some things too.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to grade what you have for the due date. And I'm going to grade it. You need to get it as best as you can, because this is really the only time, the main time that I have to give you feedback. And I'm going to give you feedback based on, as if I were an examiner. I mean, because I want you to know what to expect when they look at your work. So I'm going to be looking at everything: grammar, coherence, cohesion, así todo. And I may be giving you a lot of feedback. I mean, it depends on the product. But you're going to have, between now and the 23rd of May, basically, that's when the first draft is due, to make all those necessary changes. Now, we're going to be focusing on other aspects of your research, but on your own time, you can clarify those and obviously ask questions if you're not sure about how to fix that. But I'm going to be grading it as if it were the final project. And because I want you to, and all of you, to know what to expect. I don't want you to say, oh, well, why didn't they check that? Or he didn't say anything about that before. I don't want that to happen. I'd rather, you get my feedback and that you hear what the suggestions that I have, so I can hopefully better prepare you for what to expect at the end. Now, the weight, I don't know if you looked at the announcement, but I have an announcement where I explain the weights, how I'm grading all of everything for this class. And I would recommend that you look at that video, because I explain exactly how much weight this literature.
The ones that you told me? Those videos?
And announcements. Okay. Yeah, and announcements. Yeah. You really should look at all the announcements, because I post announcements where I think all of you can benefit. And there's one here on grades. Grading and weights.
Okay.
So take a look at that if you have questions about how I'm grading, because I explain exactly the weight associated to everything about this class.
Okay.
But essentially, the weight that I'm assigning to the literature review is less than the weight of the first draft. So even though I'm grading and it doesn't have a huge weight on the whole grade for this process, for the tutoring process, what has more weight is the first draft. You really need to have it well done on the first draft, because for me, for my feedback, that's going to have more weight than the individual products, the lit review, the data collection. Those, I'm going to be grading those, but it has less weight.
Okay.
Okay? So for your grade, don't be overly concerned about the grade. I mean, you want to do as well as you can, but you'll have another chance on the first draft to clean it up, because if you don't clean it up, it's going to hurt you on the final grade too. So you're basically going to have, the time to really update all of these sections for that first draft. So is that,
yes?
Okay, so but do take a look at this so you can see how I'm grading, and and try to get finished as before the 28th.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
what else? So let's leave your questions for now. How meaningful? Okay, how meaningful is it to students to be surrounded by real life context? The second question, I'm not sure about. And how authentic material?
It's like probably like how efficient.
Yeah. How meaningful? Or how meaningful is it to students to be using TV series? Because I'm not sure, real life context can be interpreted in many different ways, and I would keep it all with regard to using.
For example, in my topic, subtopic that I'm developing, it talks about the efficiency, or well, I don't know if that is the word. How students work with that, or what is like the perception of them, if it is. And actually, I found some authors that talked about that, and they were describing how students feel motivated, or because they are into a.
Okay, so maybe talk about, but it's all about, your research is only focusing on TV, video, or series, no?
Mm-hmm.
So I would not say real life context. I would say using authentic materials. How are students motivated, or uh, how do they feel about using TV series, video to speak in class?
Okay.
They keep it to that one, because you're only researching a series, no TV series.
Yes.
So all of your research questions should be primarily related to that context, specifically, not just real life context. That could be anything, not even video.
Okay.
Could be going to the store, speaking in English. So, and how meaningful, I would state it a little bit differently, like, well, meaningful or relevant.
Relevant.
How relevant is using TV series, video in class with regard to students' own experiences or interests or needs, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would modify the second question. How does authentic material increase students' interest? I think these two questions are enough, because what we're talking about here, I think, will also include information for this third question. So the first question is okay. Second one, maybe modify to relevance and limiting to a series, TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Based on students' needs, interests. And you choose one of those, and you can ask, what are their needs? What do they want out of the class? That would be part of your data collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else? Any other questions, doubts?
No, I think that's all.
And I would double check your header here and try to. You want to, if you look at the template, try to follow this here. So you have it all in caps, all the way to the left, and it's the first few words, and it's not in bold text, so it's in regular text. The only thing that is not really correct here is I would move the page number over to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, just go ahead and continue updating, and we'll look at it next week. We'll start on designing our instruments.
Okay, teacher.
Okay.
Well, Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. We'll see you later.
Yes, on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.